Rewarding people for doing the bare minimum may seem kind or even encouraging, but it often reinforces mediocrity, both in others and in ourselves. When we start celebrating what should be standard, then we unconsciously lower the bar for what is possible. The bare minimum is not effort. It is obligation. But when one's self-worth is tied to being accepted, then even minimal gestures feel like grand acts of love or even responsibility. This mindset breeds emotional dependency and stagnation, not growth. The problem with normalizing at least they did something is that it trains us to settle. It shifts focus from quality to mere participation, from integrity to convenience. For instance, when someone says, at least he came home after repeated neglect, they are not celebrating love. They are rationalizing absence. That at least becomes a survival mechanism for low self-esteem. It convinces the mind that scraps are sufficient because expecting more feels risky or even undeserved. In relationships, workplaces, and even friendships, rewarding the bare minimum teaches others that effort is optional. The more you celebrate mediocrity, the less room excellence has to breathe. Over time, this creates emotional exhaustion. It creates resentment and a warped sense of value, where effort feels like a favor instead of shared responsibility. Psychologically, this pattern roots in unmet emotional needs and self-doubt. People with low self-confidence often fear being seen as too demanding or even ungrateful. So they overcompensate by expressing excessive gratitude for minimal effort. This is a form of fawning, a trauma response where one pleases others to maintain connection and avoid rejection. It feels safer to praise the bare minimum than to risk conflict by asking for more. Yet this very behavior perpetuates emotional neglect. The mind learns to equate scarcity with safety and abundance with the danger. Spiritually, settling for the bare minimum reflects disconnection from one's divine worth. The soul by nature thrives in abundance, authenticity and truth, not survival. So when you reward minimal effort, you signal to the universe that you're content with less, and energy mirrors that back. True abundance flows when self-respect replaces desperation, when gratitude doesn't excuse neglect, and when love is measured by presence, not crumbs. In short, the bare minimum doesn't need applause. It needs awareness. So words like at least, that is not appreciation. It is a cry for validation from someone afraid to lose what's already insufficient. Stop clapping for what's basic. When you raise your standards, you don't become ungrateful. You become aligned with your worth. May people heal. Heal.